Hey guys, we are back with some more New Jersey Devils franchise mode, and in this one, we are going to be making a trade, but not a trade that I wanted to make in the last one. And the trade that I wanted to make in the last one was to move Wayne Simmonds out of here because he's been underperforming as of late. I did go into the trade screen to try to trade for Jordan Greenway, which is who we were considering trading for to replace Simmonds, and the Wild wanted a little much for what I was willing to give up. And then as well as Logan Brown from the Ottawa Senators. And again, Logan Brown's trade value is a little bit much for a fourth liner. If Ottawa was willing to give him up, then I would definitely want to trade for him. But as it stands right now, that trade value is a little much, again, for someone who would just be on our fourth line and the penalty kill. So we're going to leave the forward lines alone. But what will change here is our defensive core. Because when you take a look, we have an offensive defenseman on every pair. Smith, Butcher, and Zhamnov. And the odd man out here is Kirill Zhamnov. As when you take a look at his stats from last year, he was a turnover machine. 9 takeaways to 48 giveaways. And it's not like he even produced that much offense either. Only 15 points last year in 69 games. Only 1 power play point. He had a shorthanded goal there, but only 22 hits as well. He's really not helping out this year either. He has 0 takeaways so far, 4 giveaways, 3 hits, and only 2 points. -6 so far on the season with Vukojevic. So it's just not working out for him as of right now. And then you got Butcher and Smith who are ahead of him on the offensive defenseman depth chart. I would much rather keep these guys than Zhamnov. Smith has seen some growth. Butcher, he's a stable offensive defenseman who we could trust along with Severson. And Zhamnov, it would be a different story with him if we've seen growth since we drafted him, but we really haven't. We really have not seen much growth, if any, from Kirill Zhamnov ever since we drafted him. And I don't know if that was from playing him in the AHL for too long or if it was from not playing him in the AHL enough, but it seems like he's just not growing here. And there's, obviously on the right side, you have Subban and Severson as well. He's not really going to get the opportunity to move up in the lineup unless he get injuries to both Subban and Severson. So I don't see it happening here for Zhamnov. And something that we really lack on the back end is physicality. Now, obviously, you have Vukojevic, but he only has 8 hits so far this season as a rookie defenseman. Severson and Subban also lay the body quite a bit, but I don't think that's enough. I really don't think that Subban and Severson carrying the defensive core physically is going to be enough. Because when you take a look at Smith and Butcher, I mean, these guys, they don't hit at all. 4 hits for Smith. I believe Butcher has 0. Yes, 0 hits for Butcher so far. And Vukojevic being a rookie, he's less than a hit per game right now. He's probably still getting used to the flow of the NHL. So Zhamnov, that makes him the odd man out. And he is going to be on his way out in a trade right here. We'll be trading him to the Vegas Golden Knights. They appear to be, well, the game says they're a rebuilder, but they are, in fact, 7-3. But they could use an offensive defenseman like Zhamnov here, because they have Schmidt, they have Theodore, McCabe, Nudavara, Haag, Zaboral, Hutton, all those guys, I would say more so defensive defensemen. And we are going to be going after Nick Haag here. He's not as experienced in the NHL as Kirill Zhamnov is, and in fact, he only has 10 games of experience. But the key for Haag is that he brings physicality, unlike Kirill Zhamnov. His turnovers aren't favorable, but I can live with that if he's being physical and separating the puck from other teams. And obviously, he's not going to produce much offensively, but to be fair, neither has Zhamnov. Now, obviously, Zhamnov is 3 years younger than Haag, so he probably has more trade value than Haag because he has the potential to grow a lot more. Whereas Haag, I would say he's almost done growing at this point. I would say 1 more year and he is what he is. And he's still in his minor league deal. He still has 2 years left on his minor league deal. Haag will fit in just nicely with Vukojevic to make that perfect shutdown pair, hopefully on our top 6. And Zhamnov, he gets the opportunity to go to a team that may need him on the power play. And we're just going to do this 1-for-1. Zhamnov for Nick Hague. Proposed trade, and it is accepted. So he'll always be remembered, Zhamnov will, for his playoff heroics last year. He had some pretty clutch goals. I believe he had 4 goals, or not last year, during the Stanley Cup run 2 years ago. But that was about the extent of his success here in New Jersey, unfortunately. And is Hague in the minors? Yes, he is. We will call him up. So these are our new lines. Obviously, we got Hischier back in there. I believe he will be back in fully healed by the 1st of November, which is the day after today. So he should be good to go by our next game, which is why we put him in there. So I don't have to go back and redo the lines after, 1 day of simulating. And Lundell's back down there on the 3rd line. And Nick Hague is in there with Michael Vukojevic. So we have our shutdown pair in Vukojevic and Hague. And then I decided to change up the power play a little bit. As of last check, we were at 15% on the power play. That is not going to do it for me. So on the first unit, we have Bratt, Hughes, and Gusev with Smith and Subban. And on the second unit, you have Hall, Hischier, and Palmieri with Butcher and Boqvist. And the 4-man power play will remain as Hughes, Hall, Smith, and Subban. And then Hischier, Gusev, Severson, and Butcher. And Nick Hague is also on the penalty kill. That was another reason why I wanted to trade for Hague, because I found myself putting Butcher on the penalty kill a lot, and he's not really much of a penalty killer. So I figured we need another physical defenseman to put on the penalty kill. And all these guys, Subban, Severson, Hague, and Vukojevic, are all physical. They should make the penalty kill better. We have Dubnyk in net, and let's get to some simulating. So we're going to go a week with these lines and see how we do. Hopefully we can pick up a couple of wins here against Toronto and St. Louis. Nico is back. And unfortunately, Vukojevic is injured with a mild concussion until November 13th. So we're going to have to wait a little bit to see that defensive pair in action with Hague. So I guess it's a good thing that we traded for Hague. And we'll just get Schmaltz in there for right now. And Toronto, we have a 4-3 loss, unfortunately, and a 3-2 win against St. Louis. All right, so now what I have to do is I have to send out the scout once more. So games against the Sharks, the Blue Jackets, and the Rangers. Let's see how we do here. Let's go 3 for 3. Why not? There's a win, and there is a amateur scout call. A 6-2 win against the Rangers. There you go, boys. Let's get this win against Vegas. Come on. Nick Hague's old team. And Vukojevic is back. We will definitely get him back in the lineup. Game against Vegas, 3-2 loss. Hate to see it. Have a back-to-back with Winnipeg and Dallas. 5-3 loss, 2-0 win. And we'll give Dubnyk one more game against Nashville. See if he can get the W here. If not, we will switch back to Leonard. And it wasn't really his fault, but we'll switch to Leonard anyway. We'll go another week here with these lines. And we're currently 10-9, so not exactly in the best situation. Hopefully we could get at least 2 out of 3 here. If we drop more than 1, then there might be some issues. There's a loss against Toronto, win against Minnesota, and Nico Hischier has a concern. As of right now, I don't think I'm performing to the best of my abilities. Well, I don't know what to say there because I haven't exactly taken a look at his stats as of the past 2 or 3 weeks, so I have no idea what that's looking like. But you know what? I'm confident he could get out of it, and he appreciates the vote of confidence. Glad we're on the same page. And against Ottawa, we have a 6-2 win. All right, I'll take it. Game against Washington. Jesper Boqvist injured with a sprained ankle until December 6th. So the injury is kind of flowing in right now. We'll get Simmons on the 3rd line, or will we? We'll get Zacha there. Will that put a +1 there? Nah. Wouldn't make a difference. So we'll just get Simmons up here on the 3rd line, and we will fill in Tyler Bozak here. How's Hague doing so far in his tenure with New Jersey? So he's a +5, actually. That's good. 19 hits. Yeah, he's already contributing more defensively to us than Kirill Zhamnov did. So I like that trade for sure. Now we do need to fill someone in on the power play because that's where Boqvist was. So we'll put Lundell there. And we have a 3-2 loss against the Caps. Let's go one more game against Pittsburgh, and then we will check out the team stats. Hopefully we get the win here, because we are kind of, 12-12 on the season. At December 1st, and 12 losses. I mean, we're not exactly out of the playoff picture, but it's definitely not favorable as of right now, as both of the wild cards belong to the Atlantic right now, the Red Wings and the Canadiens. Alright, so let's take a look at the team stats then, and the player stats, and we'll see what's gone wrong. Goals for per game, we are currently at a 2.92, so we're scoring more than we did before, than when we last checked. Goals against per game, I believe that's actually gone down from when we last checked, from a 3 to a 2.63. So that trade definitely helped. It's just a matter of, I guess we're not, the power play. The power play is not scoring, and the penalty kill actually got much better. So we're much better defensively now. It's just for some reason, I think it's got to be depth scoring that's killing us right now. That would make sense because Gusev, Hughes, Hall, they're all doing all right. Bratt looks like he's slowed down a little bit. I guess Nico has slowed down quite a bit, hasn't he? 13 points in 22 games. He was previously a point per game. So that must mean that he has not had many, if any, points in this entire month. Huh. That is quite the drought for Nico. I mean, I know he was injured for a couple of games there, but it's only a couple of games. He has been in an unfortunate slump right now. Subban, he's been doing all right, 15 points in 24 games. Lundell's finally starting to pick it up, 11 points in 24 games. Remember, that was at, I think, 2 goals when we last checked, no assists. So he definitely picked it up in that month, but unfortunately, Nico Hischier is in quite a slump, and that kind of cancels out Lundell's hot streak. Let's check goaltenders. Yeah, Leonard and Dubnyk, they're doing their jobs. Yeah, I think it's got to be depth scoring that's killing us right now. Subban and Smith, they're getting quite a few points. Butcher, Severson. Let's check out our forwards other than our top 6. So you have our top 6 here in Gusev, Hughes, Hall, Bratt, Palmieri, and Hischier. And then Lundell with 11. And then Zajac, Simmons with 6. Boquist with 6. Yeah, it's definitely our depth scoring. Yeah, it's our depth scoring, for sure. Zacha with 4 points. Coleman with 5. Boquist only with 6. Simmons with 6. Zajac with 6. I mean, you expect that out of Zajac, who's a 76 overall, but Boquist, he had a pretty good rookie season last year with 45 points, and a quarter of the way through the season right now, he only has 6 points. So that is a yikes. Yeah, we need to fix that. We need to fix our depth scoring big time. Because as of right now, the depth scoring is the only thing wrong with his team. We fixed the defense fairly well, and our goaltending is playing phenomenal right now. So if we could just fix the depth scoring, we'd be golden. But as of right now, I have no idea what's going on with our depth scoring. It's just nowhere to be found for whatever reason. And also, obviously, Nico Hischier needs to pick it up. He's talented enough to be able to get it going again. I'm confident in him. He's got a 94 offensive awareness. It's just a matter of time before he gets going again, especially playing with Bratt and Palmieri. And then, obviously, the first line is the first line. They are absolutely OP. Hall, Hughes, and Gusev. I mean, that is quite the first line there, but the depth scoring, I have no idea why. I mean, I guess we do need to upgrade. We do need to upgrade somewhere. And obviously, Boquist is out, but he hasn't really been doing much either. Only 6 points, and last year he had 45. That's the most perplexing part about this. And we're not giving Lundell out to anybody. How's Coleman doing defensively? Obviously, he doesn't really have the offensive numbers right now, but how is he doing defensively? Not the greatest. I mean, he does have 51 hits, so he is separating the puck from the other team. It's just that he's turning it over a little bit as well, compared to how much I would like him to. Simmons, he's not bad with the turnovers, but he's not getting hits either, really. I mean, he is, but not as much as I want him to. Only 18 hits compared to 112 last year. I would say he's only on pace for about 65 hits currently, maybe 70. And that is significantly less, obviously, than in the past few seasons where he's gotten 100 plus every season. So he's definitely slowed down. Pavel Zacha, only 4 assists so far, but we don't really expect offense from him too much. I mean, obviously, there in year number 1 and year number 2, he got over 30 points. But last year he had 18 points, and he's on pace for about 16, 17, 18 points as of right now. So as long as he stays consistent with that, I'm all right with it. And he's been hitting quite a bit as well, 33 hits in 24 games played. So he's on pace for around 100 hits. So I can't complain there from Zacha. and his turnovers haven't been terrible. They could be better. It's not the worst thing in the world, and he is creating turnovers by hitting the other team. So I'm all right with Zacha. Zajac, on the other hand, might be... I mean, yes, it's only 7 hits so far. His age is clearly showing at this point. In 24 games played, only 7 hits, 1 block, 8 takeaways to 9 giveaways. So he isn't terrible. He's not giving up the puck, but he's what I like to call an empty presence on the ice. He's there, but he's not really doing much to affect the game at all. Not in a positive way or a negative way. He's just kind of there. And Bozak, he's only played 3 games, so there's not really much that we can go off of here as far as his data goes. But, obviously, Boqvist, who he's replacing, hasn't been doing much either offensively. And as we take a look at Boqvist, only 13 hits. He's good defensively with that takeaway to giveaway ratio, 11-9. And I don't exactly want to give up on Boqvist just yet because he did have quite the rookie season with 45 points. So I feel like with the right line mates, we could get Boqvist going. I think we seriously need to consider upgrading Zajac and then potentially from Simmons as well. I mean, I know I said this in the last episode, but I couldn't exactly find a trade for them that would have made sense for the value. Because, again, we were going after Logan Brown and Jordan Greenway, and the price for them was a little bit much, especially for Logan Brown. Now, at this point, since we're struggling this much, I might want to consider going after Greenway a little bit more, especially if he's been consistent. So as we take a look at Greenway here, what's he done? 7 points so far in 25 games played, so he's obviously not going to help out with the offense much, but how's he been defensively? He's gotten more hits than Simmons. Better takeaway to giveaway ratio as well, but he's barely on pace for, I'd say, 80 hits. Yeah, we need some form of depth scoring, not just in the form of, better defensively, but we need someone who's able to put the puck in the net as well, because that bottom 6 is just absolutely nowhere to be found offensively besides maybe Lundell for the past month. I think what we need on this third line is a playmaker for Lundell and Coleman. But the thing is, that's kind of Boqvist, and he hasn't really been doing much. Maybe we consider replacing Coleman with somebody. He's been getting hits, but he hasn't been getting the offense, and that's kind of what we need right now. Man, it's just kind of a predicament we're in right now because our depth scoring historically has been pretty good. But for some reason this year, it is just nowhere, absolutely nowhere to be found. So we're going to take a look around the league for some depth who may be able to get it done for us. And what we are doing here, we are once again sorting by time on ice, and it goes from least to most time on ice. So we are looking for the player who is able to produce the most amount of offense with the least amount of ice time, and that's what we're going for here. I want someone who's at least an 81 overall and who has at least 10 points currently on the season. So as we scroll down, it's obviously going to take us a little bit to find someone with 10 points or more. Sam Gagner, he is currently a 78 overall. Doesn't really fit the criteria. He's a little bit old as well. There's Evan Rodriguez, 82 overall, 9 points. So he's close to what we want. How is he defensively? He doesn't really, he has 2 hits. For the bottom 6, I want someone who's going to be able to create offense and separate the puck from the other team, and that's not what Rodriguez is doing. As we keep scrolling down, we have Jeffrey Clayson, 80 overall, 18 years of age on Nashville. I'm not sure if Nashville will want to give him up. He's apparently a medium top 9 potential with the 2 bars, so we don't know that for sure. He might be like a medium top 6, so I would imagine as an 18-year-old, he would be pretty hard to trade for, especially since he's already playing in the NHL. He's only getting 931 of ice time, so that tells me he's either 3rd or 4th line on Nashville. But he has 12 points. Let's take a look at his individual stats. He's got 21 hits. I mean, for this point in the season, that's not bad at all. 7 takeaways to 5 giveaways, 7 power play points already, so he's on the power play. Yeah, so I'd imagine he's 4th line and power play. Clayson would not be on our power play, so we are going to say no to Clayson. Josh Levo, 80 overall. He's 29 years of age, 3rd line scorer. Now let's see. Are any of those on the power play? 1 power play point. Okay, that's reasonable. He had 28 points last year. 26 hits so far this year. A decent ratio. It's not bad. I'd like to keep looking though. Brock Nelson, he has 10 points so far. What's his contract looking like? 3 years for 4.175. He would fit on our 4th line, power play, and penalty kills, so that's not bad. Now, as we take a look at his other stats, he has no power play points, so those are all even strength. Well, besides those 2 shorties, so he has technically 8 even strength points. What about defensively? Yeah, it's not terrible. It's about a hit per game at the moment. I'll write down Brock Nelson, but I think I like Levo a little bit more, especially for his contract. Jesse Puljujärvi, who's a low elite, 82 overall, 11 assists. He only fits on line 1. He's pretty cheap for this year. It's just a matter of what's he going to want next year that is a little concerning to me. What about defensively? He's not really great with the hits or the takeaways to giveaways. I'll write him down just because he's got that offense, but there's also a possibility that that might just be line chemistry once again with the Edmonton Oilers. Andrew Mangiapane, he's an 81 overall. That could be line chemistry that has him with the 19 points, and I don't think, well, he does have power play time. 7 points, 5 goals on the power play, so that's 12 even strength. That's not bad. What about his defensive stats? 5 hits, takeaways to giveaways, 8 to 11. I'll write Mangiapane down as an option. And yeah, he's actually last scouted on 10/25/2022, and he was scouted on line 4. So I have a feeling that those 12 even strength points are because of line chemistry, but I will write him down anyway. Here we go. Kiefer Bellows, he has 12 points. 4 of them are on their power play, so 8 even strength. But he does hit quite a bit. In limited ice time, only 11/23 of ice time. And he's got a really good takeaway to giveaway ratio, and he's historically pretty good defensively as well. Kiefer Bellows might be someone we want to go after. And he's pretty cheap too. 2 years at 1.3. And I wouldn't imagine he'd be too hard to trade for either. Another couple of good options here. Alex Chiasson from the Coyotes and Michael Frolik from the Flames. Neither of these guys really have too many power play points. Chiasson has 4, but Frolik has 0. Chiasson is pretty good physically with 30 hits so far. Not as good with the takeaway to giveaway ratio. Michael Frolik, however, he has 39 hits. Historically, not too physical in the simulation, but he did have 2 years in a row of almost or at 100 hits. So Chiasson historically is very physical in the simulation. He's been a little brutal with the takeaways to giveaways so far this year, but I think he'd be able to rebound. He had 39 points last year, so I think the safe bet would be Alex Chiasson. He's a couple years younger as well, but I'll write both Chiasson and Frolik down. And another guy who could be of use, Dmitry Jaskin of the Edmonton Oilers. Currently has 19 points on the season, 6 power play points, so 13 even strength, and only 13/12 of ice time, 32 hits, and he is pretty good with the takeaways to giveaways. So a pretty good list of players here. We have Levo, Nelson, Puljujärvi, Mangiapane, Bellows, Chiasson, Frolik, and Jaskin. I liked Kiefer Bellows the best, because he's probably going to be pretty cheap to trade for, only at 80 overall, and he had a great ratio, I believe, along with the physicality, and the scoring makes him a perfect candidate to fill in our bottom 6. Now it's just a matter of if the Islanders would be willing to give him up, and if I could find him. Yeah, here we go. So, he's not... I mean, the Islanders don't want to give him up, but he doesn't have that much trade value. And another thing I like about Bellows is that he's got a pretty cheap contract with 1.3 mil over the next 2 years. So as we take another look at Bellows, 12 points so far in the year. 4 of them are power play points, but takeaway to giveaway ratio, the hits, I mean, that's pretty nice. He hasn't really been consistent with the hits, but to be fair, he did only have 23 games in his first season in the NHL, and he had 25 hits. So if that was extended out over the course of a full season, he would definitely be over a hit per game. So I think Bellows would be able to keep it up with us. I think going out the other way would have to be Simmons, because they do want Simmons. And yeah, Bellows has more hits than Simmons. He's better with the takeaways to giveaways. Now, obviously, that's not going to go through as is. We're going to have to add a sweetener. So they want Severson, Butcher, Smith, Simmons, Zaka, Bozak, Bajan, and Klingberg. Well, I'm not giving up any of my NHLers, so that's from Severson to Smith, not including Simmons because he's obviously already going the other way. Zaka, Bozak, not giving up those guys either. Bajan, he's already a 77 overall. He's seen some pretty good growth so far this year. I think maybe Klingberg could be expendable. He is a low top 4 defenseman. He's a defensive defenseman as well. Well, considering that we have Vukojevic and that we just got Haig, we have Severson who lays the body quite a bit. I don't know if we necessarily need Klingberg. Yeah, we don't need Klingberg, so we're going to get him on there with Simmons for Kiefer Bellows. And what if we were able to get a draft pick out of this? I don't think we're going to be able to get like a second or anything. Well, it's not like the Islanders have a second anyway. They have 5, 6, 6, and 7 for this year's draft. That's it. They don't have any picks for this draft pretty much. So I think if I were to take something, I'd go for next year's 4th. Yeah, that looks fair. Simmons and Klingberg for Bellows and a 4th. Will that go through? Yes, it will. Very nice. So Simmons, he did well for us, especially in the playoffs. He had some clutch moments, but he's just not working out, and we need to change something about that bottom 6 for a group. So Bellows, get in there, and we'll see what he can do. So I just did the same thing for centers, and another guy who I really like here is Dylan Dubé. I'm guessing is that how that's pronounced. He has 8 points. All of them are even strength. He is a -5. Don't look at that, though, because he has a 52% on faceoffs. He has 44 hits at this point in the season and 19 takeaways to 6 giveaways. And with last season, it may not look like much, but he didn't play a whole ton of games. He only played 20. So if you extend that out over a full season, then he's over hit per game, and his takeaways to giveaways equal out to be, I would say, 1.5 takeaways to for every 1 giveaway. So Dylan Dubé is definitely someone who I want to go after here, so we will trade for asset. So they don't want to give him up. He will be a little difficult to trade for since he's got that medium top 6. But we may be able to come up with the trade value here for him. And he'd be replacing Zajac in the lineup. So I don't think we would need Bozak at that point, since Zajac would be the extra forward. They are interested in a couple of our prospects here: Crosby, Hedstrom, Lyles, and Kim. The only one of significant value is Crosby. Daniel Crosby is 63 overall, 18 years of age. He currently has 10 points in the OHL with Flint. Yeah, he's having a rough season there, it looks like, compared to last season. He had 54 points in 61 games. Having a slow start, even with the increased ice time. So it may be in our best interest, especially to acquire Dubé, to send Crosby the other way. Bozak and Crosby for Dubé, I don't think that'll work. I mean, it's close, but I still don't think that Calgary would accept that. So we're going to have to include a sweetener in here, maybe a draft pick. They do want picks. So maybe we just put Minnesota's 3rd in there. Bozak, Crosby, and a 3rd for Dubé. That should work. Now, I'm going to see if I could get a later pick back in return. Maybe a 5th for next year. Yeah, that should work. Bozak, Crosby, and a 3rd for Dubé, and a 5th. No. Okay. We'll take the 5th off. So Bozak, Crosby, and a 3rd for Dubé. Proposed trade rejected still. We are a bit off in value with this proposal, and it doesn't meet our trade block needs particularly well. So they're just probably referring to Bozak there, and then also referring to that they don't want to give up Dubé. So I think what we'll do, we'll take Minnesota's 3rd off. I'd be willing to give up our 2nd here for Dubé, because he's a pretty solid 4th liner. You could also put him on the penalty kill, and obviously you're giving up a prospect named Crosby, but this is something we desperately need. We desperately need to fix our bottom 6 scoring, and hopefully not only getting Bellows, but getting Dubé will help that out. Proposed trade accepted. There you go. So obviously giving up the 2nd might have been a little bit much, but it's something that we desperately needed to do. So we're going to get Dubé in there. I'm going to see how Dubé works out on the penalty kill. He's got that same +3 that Zajac has, And I know the penalty kill has been great, but considering Dubé is going to be Zajac's replacement once he moves on, I want to see how he works out. And obviously, once Boqvist comes back, it'd be Zajac who is coming out and will stay as the 13th forward. So those are the only trades that we're going to be making for right now. Hopefully that fixes our scoring issues with the bottom six. We have 2 games against Philly and Edmonton to test it out here. Philly, we have a 4-3 OT loss. We scored 3 goals. Boqvist is back. Get Boqvist back in. And we'll get Bellows on the 4th line with Dubé and Zacha. So that's looking much better as of right now. But we'll see if these guys are actually able to produce for us. Game against Edmonton, a 6-2 win. There you go. You gotta think that at least a couple of our depth players scored in that game. And I would love to see a box score, but, you know, EA, so we can't. And luckily, we are currently in 4th in the Metropolitan at the moment, but still quite a ways away from the wild card or a divisional spot. So we still have a lot of catching up to do, but we're making progress for sure. So with that being said, I now have to send the scout back out, and we'll get right back to the simulation afterward. So games against Vancouver and Vegas. See what happens here. We're 13-12-1 currently, and the Canucks have fired head coach Harold Tillett. I guess maybe our game might have been the final nail in the coffin for him, as Ty Smith is fully healed. I don't believe we ever took him out. And Vegas, we have a 5-4 shootout win. There you go. Depth scoring possibly coming through clutch. Game against the Rangers. Let's see if we can continue. And we have a 3-2 win. There you go. Keep it going. Game against Ottawa. You're 16-12-1. Not making any trades. We have a 4-2 loss. All right. I think Leonard's had enough time in there. We'll give Dubnyk some more time. We'll give him 3 games here. Islanders, Montreal, and Columbus. 6-3 loss. That's brutal. 4-2 loss. That is unfortunate. We'll give him 1 more game. And we have a 3-2 OT loss. So that second line is kind of slowed down as of late. Bratt's going. He's got 28 points, but Nico only with 19 so far in 31 games. Palmieri with 22. I'm going to put Palmieri with Lundell and Boqvist, and then Dubé up here on the second line. So then Boqvist over here to the left. And then Coleman will be with Zacha and Bellows. We'll see what happens with that. A few more games in December here. We have Montreal, Boston, and the Islanders once again. Shootout win against Montreal. 3-2 loss versus Boston, and versus the Islanders, we have another 3-2 loss. My goodness. You absolutely hate to see it. 17-17-2 so far on the season. So we're at January 1st, and I think we're going to stop it here because there's something that's not quite clicking with this team. Goals for, we are at 2.92. Goals against, we are at 2.78. Power play is at 13.5. Yeah, that power play for whatever reason. The penalty kill's done fine. Only let in 14 shorthanded goals so far this year, the least in our division. But the power play is just dreadful. I have no idea why. We have a lot of good offensive players, but for some reason, it's just not working. Leonard and Dubnyk have been alright lately, so I'm not blaming any of this on them. How many power play points does Bratt have? 5 out of his 29 total. What about Hughes? Is 10. Okay, that's good. Gusev, 5? Really? Subban with 3? Oh my goodness. Subban. Only 3 power play points for Subban. Smith only with 3. Jeez. Hall, 6 in 36 games. Nico with 4. Palmieri, 2. Yeah, the power play's been dead. Lundell with 2. And Butcher, nothing. Yeah, that power play, the entire, not just the second unit this time, it is basically everybody but Hughes. And with this group of players, I don't know how you achieve a power play percentage that low. So I was just thinking we might be able to use a new coach. And I really like this guy here, Pietrangelo. He's got that A+ for power play, A- for penalty kill, A for teaching, and an A+ for coach influence. So I'm hoping that maybe, and also a B- for offense. So I'm hoping that maybe he'll be good enough to get our power play back to where it needs to be. Now, who would we replace with him, though? I don't think I want to get rid of Vigier because he has the A for penalty kill and the A- for defense, and I think that might be playing a part in how good our penalty kill is. But at the same time, our power play has just been dreadful. So we need to make a change somewhere, and I think maybe Serge Biron might be the one getting fired here if we're able to get him on board, Pietrangelo on board as a assistant coach. So he's wanting a lot of money here. So I'd give him 1.3 mil as an assistant coach. He wants to be associate, but I'm going to offer him as an assistant. We'll offer this contract to him. If he accepts it, then there should be a message that says, something like, I wanted to join you, but there's no space left on your coaching staff. Then in that case, we would fire our current NHL assistant coach, and we would just reapproach Cody Pietrangelo. So we'll offer this contract to him because there's just no other explanation as to why our power play is this bad. We've made several changes to it. Nothing's working. The power play has consistently been our Achilles heel going back to early last year. So we definitely could use a different coach here, and hopefully Pietrangelo accepts our offer. But with that being said, I don't want to do any more simulating in this video, so we're going to end it off here. We'll briefly check out the player stats, but we got to end it off. Gusev and Hughes lead the team with 32 points. Gusev leads with 19 goals. 29 points for Bratt, 26 for Hall, 23 for Palmieri and Subban, 21 for Hischier, 18 for Lundell in his rookie year so far. Bellows with 15. How many of those come from us? That would be 3 points so far in 12 games. Butcher with 11. Boquist with 11. Dubé with 10. And 2 with us in 12 games. Coleman with 10. Smith with 10. Severson with 8. Zajac with 7. Haig with 7. Zaka with 6. Vukojevic with 4. Schmaltz with 2. Faceoffs, you have Zajac with the 60.5. So, again, that's why he's our 13th forward. Great with faceoffs. Hughes with a 54.2. Dubé with a 52%, though he's been playing wing for most of the time he's been here so far. Hischier with a 51.2. Lundell with a 45%. That was much worse before. That was around a 41, so he's gotten better as the season's gone on. Hits, you have Subban with 88, Coleman with 69, Palmieri and Dubé with 68, Severson with 65, 62 for Hughes. 62 for Hughes. In 36 games played? Oh my. He is really starting to become a physical player, it appears. 71 hits last year and 62 so far this year, and we're not even halfway through. Huh. He is really becoming a well-rounded player, it appears. Hall with 59 hits as well. Haig with 50. Zaka with 41. Bellows with 38. Vukojevic with 29. Hischier with 21. Butcher with 18. Gusev with 17. Boquist with 16. Bratt with 14. Smith with 13. Lundell with 13. So Lundell, unfortunately, is not much of a physical center, it doesn't appear. Schmaltz with 9. Zajac with 7. And the takeaways to give away is Hischier, Lundell, Hall, Hughes, Bellows, Dubé, all great. Coleman could be better. Subban, good for a defenseman. Boquist is good. Gusev and Bratt could be better. Palmieri could be much better. Zaka could be better. Smith is okay. Could be better though. Zajac, for what he does and for how many games he's played, is good. Severson could be a lot better. 8 to 38. 7 to 28 for Butcher. 7 to 32 for Haig. 6 to 17 for Vukojevic. 1 to 7 for Schmaltz. And goaltenders, you have Leonard with a 9.11 save percentage and Dubnyk with a 9.14. So that'll just about do it for this one. Let me know what you guys think of the changes that we made, and let me know of any other changes that you think need to be made, maybe to the power play, and actually specifically to the power play, because it appears that is what appears to be struggling. So I'll leave you guys off there. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next one.